Hello everyone and welcome back to Nate the Hoof Guy. Today's video we have got a cow that's got a foot packed full of rocks. Typically rocks don't cause a lot of problems with cows' feet, but in this case it is causing discomfort. And rocks, they always cause problems with my knives and with my grinder blades. Typically small stones like this just embed in the surface of the sole, but in this case they're really penetrated deep into it. Many of the farms that I trim on use sand for bedding, and sometimes sand you can get batches of it that aren't screened real well, and you'll have some larger particulates in there, and that's what actually is the problem here. These are small stones, smaller than a pea size maybe, and those are the ones that can really get impacted deeply into a hoof. Unfortunately, it's caused a problem with this cow. It's gone all the way to the point where we have an abscess formed underneath here. Sand is a great bedding source for cows. They love to lay in it. Super soft, and it provides great traction. The downside is if you get some like this that's got some bigger particulates in it, some sharper stones, they can get impacted. As a general rule, we try to avoid removing the outside wall of a cow's hoof. In this case, we have to remove that. It's the only way that we can get all the way down to this lesion, number one. Number two, we can't have an area, we can't leave a hole there when we're done trimming. Otherwise, stuff is just going to get impacted right back into that. So we have to notch this out so we have a nice path outward that if anything does accumulate in this area when I'm done cleaning it up, it has a way to get out without impacting. You can see right here there's an area of discomfort. She flinches when I work in there. I want to try to avoid that. Obviously if I'm causing pain there, I got to back away and try to get a better look at this so I don't injure any live tissue underneath there. The problem when little stones penetrate like this is you don't get nice clean margins like you do with other types of abscesses and things like that where the sole releases nicely. Here, in a situation like this is very fresh. These stones have just gotten in there, and so it's very irregular. So it's when you're trimming away, trying to get this loose horn away, it's much more difficult to find the edges and get a nice, clean, smooth area. You kind of have to just take small chunks at a time and get what loose you can. If you notice the margins of this open area here, you can see little white patches there that look like loose horn. That's actually live tissue right at the top there. I cut some of that, and so I stopped. If I were to keep going all the way around that top portion, all that little white, what looks like loose hoof, that would turn into just a mess there. So I'm not going to cut any of that tissue. It's live. It's really soft, so it's not going to impede any healing there. It's going to actually become part of that new layer of hoof that forms. So I'm just going to get this cleaned up now, apply a block, get the pressure off of that, and let it go from there. Now I'm just going to give this one last cleanup, do a little scrubbing, make sure that I get all the dirt and debris out of there. And that lower spot that you see there that's a little dark, that's just surface dirt. It didn't actually penetrate all the way there. I could have kept digging and get all that out of there. There would be no advantage to doing that, so I just left it. It's just on the surface. As I mentioned, this is a sand-bedded barn, and sometimes you don't have to wrap these types of lesions. You want to let them drain and harden up. In this case, I'm going to wrap it because I don't want her going right back into her stall and packing that area back full of stones again. So I'm going to wrap it up, allow that area to firm up a little bit underneath there, that hoof, and then that wrap can come off in a couple days. All right, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.